The ancient Romans built one of the greatest empires in world history. However, whereas the Roman Empire lasted from about 30 BCE to 476 CE, ancient Roman civilization emerged long before, in the centuries after 800 BCE. The term ancient Rome refers to the city of Rome, which was located in central Italy, and also to the empire it came to rule, which covered the entire Mediterranean basin and much of Western Europe. At its greatest extent it stretched from present-day northern England to southern Egypt, and from the Atlantic coast to the shores of the Persian Gulf. Rome's location in central Italy placed it squarely within the Mediterranean cluster of civilizations. The most famous of these was that of the ancient Greeks, but others included those of the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, and the Etruscans, plus several lesser-known peoples such as the Lycians. The civilization of ancient Rome was rooted, directly or indirectly, in all these earlier culture. Ancient Roman society originated as a society of small farmers. However, as it grew more powerful and more extensive, it became one of the most urbanized societies in the pre-industrial world. At the height of its empire, Rome was probably the largest city on the planet with more than 1 million inhabitants. The empire had a handful of other cities with several 100,000 inhabitants and many other large and wealthy urban settlements. These cities had some features which would have looked very familiar to us: high-rise apartment blocks, overcrowded slums, busy streets, plazas, imposing public administrative buildings, and so on. In its early centuries, Rome was particularly influenced by the powerful Etruscan civilization to its north, from which it acquired many aspects of its culture. As Rome's reach expanded, it came into direct contact with the Greeks. From then on, Greek influence would become an increasingly important element within Roman life. However, the Romans would give Greek culture their own slant, giving it the new grandeur which can be seen in Roman remains throughout the empire. The Roman Empire contained around 2,000 cities. For the Romans, cities were communities which ran their own affairs, and constituted the main building blocks of the empire. Every free person in the empire belonged to a city, which may not necessarily have been where he or she was living at any given time, but was his or her hometown. The Roman city was built around a forum. This was an open space surrounded by colonnades and public buildings. It functioned as a marketplace, political meeting point, and social center. The public buildings surrounding it would include the main temple, the Basilica, the law courts, and the main public baths of the city. Unlike Greek theaters, Roman ones were large freestanding buildings of semicircular design containing tiered ranks of seats. The city would be surrounded by walls usually made of stone. Fortified gateways pierced the walls to allow people and traffic to pass in and out. Many cities were located on the coast or by a large navigable river. Here, a harbor would be situated consisting of quays built of wood or stone for loading and unloading vessels, and docks for repairing or building ships. Surrounding the city was the territory which it controlled. Hamlets and villages were scattered across the landscape, whose people came to the city for market or other special occasions. Villas of the rich were also to be found, large farmhouses set in country estates worked by slaves or tenant farmers. Some villas were truly magnificent palaces set in beautiful parks. As in all pre-modern societies, the Roman economy was based primarily on agriculture. For the Romans, this was an typical Mediterranean farming of the ancient world, cultivating grains, vines and olives, and keeping sheep, goat and cattle. Roman society changed enormously over time as Rome expanded from small city-state to huge empire throughout almost all Roman history. However, the basic class distinctions of Roman society remained in place. Slaves would have been found everywhere in the cities and in the country, and of course in the home. They worked in all kinds of businesses and did all kinds of work from unskilled laboring through to high-level professional jobs. They had no legal rights, they were property like cattle. But one thing they could with luck look forward to: freedom. Generation by generation millions of slaves were freed and joined the main body of citizens with all their rights. Some freedmen became very rich, many others made a moderate living in their trade. But all swelled the ranks of citizens. Later, the laws governing family life were greatly relaxed and discipline in most homes became much milder. In fact, from late Republican times onward, Roman women lived much freer lives than their Greek predecessors had done. For example, whereas Greek wives had been unable to eat with her husband's guests, the Roman wife was free to do so. Also, women could initiate divorce as easily as men. Young Roman man came of age about the age of 17 when he became liable for military service. In early times all men would be expected to fight in the army and could be called up to do so for some of each year until he was 40 years old. From the late Republic onward, however, serving in the army became a full-time profession, so unless they volunteered, ordinary citizens would not expect to serve. Parents arranged the marriages of their children. A man would usually move to his own house when he married. Although boys could marry 14 and girls at 12, most did not do so until they were older. After marriage, in well-off marriages, the wife's responsibility was to look after the home and bring up the children while the husband worked. In poorer households they would be needed in the family workshop. Roman clothing was almost identical to that of the Greeks. Men wore a tunic tied at the waist. On formal occasions they would also drape a large piece of cloth, called a toga, around themselves. Most men wore their hair short. Throughout the Republic and early Empire, they were clean-shaven. From the 2nd century onward, older men adopted the Greek fashion for growing a beard. In the later Empire, men of all ages wore beards. Women wore a stilla, a long tunic tied at the bust and falling to the ankles. They too could drape large pieces of cloth looking like a toga but called a palla over themselves. Women's hairstyles varied over the long period of Rome's history. In earlier times, women grew their hair long then gathered it into a bun. Under the early Empire, upper-class women's hairstyles became more elaborate, with the hair often braided before being gathered back into a bun. Later, hairstyles were more elaborate still, with many curls piled high on the head. Wealthy Roman women also wore a lot of makeup, at least during the Empire. Face creams and perfumes, red ochre for the lips and cheek and soot for eyeliners were all applied with the aid of a polished metal mirror. Roman religion was very similar to that of the Greeks. Like the Greeks, the Romans worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, headed by the chief of the gods, Jupiter. Other gods included Minerva, goddess of wisdom and learning, Mars, god of war, Venus, goddess of long series, goddess of the earth, and Pluto, god of the underworld. As well as these major gods, numerous lesser deities, gods of hearth and home and forest and field, populated the spirit world. Roman sculpture in particular has an unmissable characteristic all its own. The sculptural portraits of leading Romans of the late Republic and early Empire are simple and dignified, and above all startlingly realistic. What is true for art is even more true for architecture. One can see Greek influences powerfully at work in the buildings of ancient Rome, but transformed into a uniquely Roman style. There was nothing in Greek architecture similar to the arched facades of the Colosseum or of the Theatre of Pompey, nor to the arched construction of the great Roman aqueducts, or the triumphal arches which adorn many Roman cities. The arch is a new innovation in Roman architecture reflecting Roman engineering capabilities in solving the problem of carrying greater weight. The same is true for the dome, which appeared most famously in the Pantheon, in Rome, and which allowed Roman architects and builders to span much greater spaces than before. The theme here is size and grandeur. The Romans built big to reflect their power and confidence. Roman literature is written in the Latin language. The Latins were a people who had settled in central Italy some centuries before Rome was founded. Rome was originally one of their towns, and although the Romans came to be of somewhat mixed Italian stock Latin, they spoke the Latin dialect. Thanks for watching, and be sure to smash the like button, subscribe and click the notification bell for more amazing content.